Hi everyone! Throughout December and early January, every single year I do a series of videos that talk about my ultimate favourite products, or my ride or die products if you will. So it's almost been 6 months since I did that series, so are they all the same, or have some products knocked my ultimate favourites of December off the top spot? We are going to be talking about all the changes, anything that I did not mention in those videos that I now cannot do without features in this video. So we are going to get straight on with it. If you are new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I upload new beauty content on this channel every single week, and I would love it if you would consider clicking on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell if you are enjoying what you're watching throughout this video. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. This video is part sponsored by Zip today. The Zip Halo actually featured in my mum's ride or die products during December, but I hadn't tried it at that point. Let's just say that a bad previous experience had stopped me from wanting to try this out. I was a little bit tentative, let's just say petrified. I was petrified of those electrical pulsing sensations on the surface of the skin. It's just not my jam, and I eventually plucked up the courage to try this out, and I am so glad that I did. If you are wanting tightened, lifted, sculpted, and glowing skin, if you get your hands on this, just be prepared, and this is a word of warning, you may become addicted like me. It's a problem. It's a real problem. I am obsessed. So this is the Zip Halo. It's a really small, dinky device with a lot of power to it. So there are lots of microcurrent devices out on the market, but this one not only has microcurrent, but it also uses nanocurrent, which is extremely beneficial because not only are you going to get those instant results from the microcurrent, you're also going to get longer lasting results from the nanocurrent, which is why this is so good at what it does. Even if you've never used any devices on your skin before, this is so simple to use. It comes with an app which includes 7 full facials, 7 targeted treatments, and 4 treatment plans. And Zip has recently introduced a new plan called Wedding Prep. Now, you don't need to be attending a wedding to get the best out of this. This is fantastic to follow if you are going to a wedding, if you've got a special event like a birthday or an anniversary, but it's a 14-day plan to give you that added confidence knowing that your skin is going to be the best that it can possibly be building up to that special day. You can see results immediately with the Zip Halo. Look at the lift that I achieved in my brow with the Brow Lift program and my sculpted jawline with the Jowl Lift program. Subtle but impressive. So if you are wanting a device that will firm, tighten, brighten, smooth, even out the skin tone, depuff the skin, plump up the skin and give you that youthful glow, then I absolutely love the Zip Halo. I do have an offer code for you that will get you 15% off, not just the Zip Halo, but also all of the gels that you can purchase separately as well. That is Gemma Zip. Input that at the checkout and you will receive 15% off all of those products. Moving on to a newbie. I'm not sure why I've been gatekeeping this product. It's my job to share the products with you, but I've been quiet about this for quite some time. I love it. My skin adores it. This hasn't taken over from my Elemis cleansing balm. I still use that every single day, but in my opinion, this is the best second cleanser I have ever tried. It is superb. If you like a foaming cleanser, but you like a foaming cleanser that's going to leave your skin really nourished, hydrated, and soothed, this is the product that I would point you towards. It's from Glow Recipe. I'm not usually a fan of Glow Recipe skincare, and yet here I am, absolutely adoring the bones of this cleanser. It's the Glow Recipe Avocado Ceramide Moisture Barrier Cleanser. I love everything about this. The texture is silky and buttery. It feels incredibly luxurious. And I know this product is not an affordable product, but it feels way more expensive than it actually is. I'm hoping that makes sense. It's incredibly smooth. You can feel the nourishment happening whilst you're cleansing your skin. And I've never actually had that experience before with a foaming cleanser. I've had really lightweight cleansers, I've had really hydrating cleansers, but not something this nourishing. It's just lovely. I like everything about it. This has a lot of avocado oil within the formula, so this is going to give you that nourishment and hydration that I know my skin absolutely craves. It's also a great antioxidant, and it also has the antioxidant vitamin E within the formula as well, so this is going to offer you skin protection. It's also got ceramides within the mix too, so great for the skin barrier, as well as glycerin to hydrate, and oats and other soothing ingredients to make sure that your skin feels really calm once you've finished using this. This does not give you that tight feeling on the surface of the skin. My skin just feels lush. Super, super nice. I am so impressed by this. I had to test it out for a little bit longer before I shared my thoughts, but it's been a while. I'm sorry. Next up, we've got the City Beauty Lid Lifting Treatment. I didn't mention this in my Ride or Die products December and January, and I'm actually not quite sure why, because I've been using this for quite a long time. I mean, there's a lot of product gone from in here. I use this on my mum as well. I have some crepey lids going on, and I don't use an eyeshadow primer anymore as such. I go in with this because this acts as a primer as well as a skincare product. And the way that it reacts with my crepiness on my lids, especially the crepiness that's right down at the base of my lash line, it's so smoothing. And when I apply any powder liner to that area, if I haven't applied this previously, when I go to smoke it out, it can grab in certain areas and sit in those creases. If I've applied this, that does not happen. It's the only product that will actually do that, and I get a really smooth blend on that lash line, even within the crepiness, which I love. I really do. This isn't a cheap product. I'm not going to lie to you. The initial investment hurts a little bit, but it does last an incredibly long amount of time because you need very little product on each eyelid. I would say probably half of a grain of rice. That's all you need per eyelid. So yeah, this is going to last you quite a while. You get 0.33 fluid ounces or 10 mils in here. It's only available in the US. So if you are in the UK, you do have to order from the US website and pay for the shipping. For me, it's worth it, and I would buy it over and over and over again. But it depends on whether you want to wait for it to arrive and whether you want to pay for the shipping. If you are in the US and you have this on your doorstep, consider yourself very, very lucky. New favorite concealer alert. This is the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. It took me a while to get to where I am with this concealer, and I can see from the reviews of this product that you are either in the love it camp or the despise it camp. It either works for you or it doesn't. The reason it works for me is because I apply very, very little. And if I'm going to layer this up, I wait for this to dry down in between layers. I just think it is the most superb concealer because for me, it doesn't crease. It gives great coverage, so it covers absolutely everything over. It has a lovely sheen on the surface of the skin, so this definitely isn't matte, but you can mattify this down with the aid of powder. Powder sits beautifully on top of this. It's just lovely. It melts into my skin. If I apply too much of this though, it looks awful. And that sometimes happens, which is why I think it's taken me so long to get to the point where I absolutely love it, because it's a bit of trial and error to get the best out of it from the get-go. So if you have this and you really didn't like it on first application, pick it up again, give it another go, tap it in with a brush to begin with, and then really push it in the skin with your finger. If you need a little bit of extra coverage, wait for it to dry down before you apply a second layer. That, for me, definitely works. I've had days where my foundation has completely worn away around my concealer, but my concealer is still on point perfection. And that's all down to this. Waterproof, smudge proof, humidity proof, sweat proof, you name it proof. I love it. I really, really love it. It's not for those really no makeup days. So if I don't have a full beat of makeup on, and maybe if I'm wearing a tinted moisturizer, this wouldn't be the concealer that I gravitated towards because it's just a little too much. But on days like today, where full beat of makeup in process, this is definitely the one for me. Just to give you a little bit of added information, and I am going to be reading this out so I don't forget anything, this comes in 50 different shades. I use the shade N2, which is slightly fairer than my natural skin tone to give that brightening effect. It gives a luminous matte finish, got a little bit of light reflection in there unless you powder this down, like I said earlier. It's going to give you medium buildable coverage, so you can get full coverage out of this if you build it up. But like I said, wait for this to dry down in between layers, otherwise this may move a little bit. It's got loads of beautiful antioxidants, soothing, hydrating and nourishing ingredients within the formula, and it's alcohol-free. Does contain a fragrance though, so if you are sensitive to fragrances, you may not like this one, but I just think it's superb. Moving on to fragrances, I don't usually talk about fragrances in my Ride or Die series, but I just wanted to touch on it very quickly in this one. So my ultimate favorite is the by Kilian Woman in Gold. I just think this is extremely elegant. It's potent. People smell me coming, which I really, really like. And it's different. It's a very rosy fragrance, but out of my entire collection, this is the one that I want to use most frequently. It is quite a heavy fragrance though, so if I'm wanting something a little bit lighter, and I will ask Louisa to put the notes of this on the screen for you now so you can see what we're dealing with here. If I'm wanting something a little bit lighter than this, if we're heading into those summer months, I am an absolute sucker for a zesty fragrance. I've even liked the smell of bug spray. Every now and again I've gone up to people and said, what perfume are you wearing? You smell absolutely beautiful. And they have bug spray on because I really, really like zesty fragrances. I've learned to tone down the zestiness somewhat so I don't smell like I'm about to go and kill mosquitoes, but I like a really lightweight, very lifting, very refreshing, zesty fragrance with some floral notes to give it that feminine edge. So I've been talking about a lot of very expensive fragrances at the moment. I've been investing in my fragrances. This one is slightly more affordable. I don't think that you would be able to say that this is in the affordable category because it's £65, but you do get 30 mils of this? Yes, you get 30 mils or 1 fluid ounce of this, which I think for a fragrance is really quite good value. This is from a brand that I've never heard of before, Olfactive O, and they started selling their products on Look Fantastic, which is where they first sparked my attention. This one is called I Am Sparkling, Spontaneous and Enchanting. Oh yes, I am. For me, this has got the correct level of lemony, uplifting zestiness, whilst also having other notes in there to sort of bring it down a notch and make this more feminine and smell more expensive. Definitely doesn't smell like a bug spray, this one. I will ask Louisa to pop the notes over here for you, but just going through them, we've got top notes of bergamot, crystal lemon and champagne. We've also got heart notes of grapefruit, mandarin and marigold, and base notes of amber, musk and Philadelphus. So lots of other notes to offset that zestiness, but you still get that uplifting, fresh fragrance. but it just smells more elegant with those added notes to bring it down a notch. I absolutely love it. For my favorite bronzer, we have a new winner. This is the YSL All Hours Hyper Bronze Bronzer in the shade 01. I also have the shade 02 if I'm wanting something slightly deeper, but this is the one that I use all the time. Usually, I don't prefer a powder bronzer. I find them, especially if I don't want to powder my foundation that day and my foundation is slightly tacky, I usually find powder bronzers to be a little bit grabby and a little bit patchy. This, absolutely not. It just is divine, and it is the right level of depth for my fair skin. It's a real struggle to find a bronzer for a fair complexion, especially when you're not wanting anything overly warm. This is just the right level of absolutely everything. And I can be heavy-handed with this bronzer and not have to worry in the slightest because it is that fair. So I can really douse my brush in, swirl my brush in this and go straight into the skin and not have to worry, because if you do get a slight little bit too much of this on the skin, it's very easy to buff out. I don't think there is anything that I don't like about this bronzer. I like the tone of it. It's not overly pink. It's not my usual go-to pinky undertoned bronzer, but it's not an orange bronzer either. I have this on my skin today and it just gives me that little bit of warmth whilst not being overpowering. It's not one of those bronzers where you're going to come up to me and say, boy, you've got a lot of bronzer on. It's not one of those. It's very subtle, but it works. My favorite mascara from December is still my favorite mascara today, the MAC Stack Mascara. However, I want to mention this little new addition to the MAC Stack range, which I have on my lashes today. This is the MAC Stack, but it's in brown, and it is the most beautiful brown shade. It's very neutral. It's not overly warm. Anybody is going to be able to use this on their lashes if they're wanting something just slightly softer than a harsh black, because sometimes black can look a little bit heavy on a more mature skin. Brown, much softer, a little bit more elegant in certain circumstances. This one is definitely beautiful, so I wanted to give it a mention. They've not brought this out in the waterproof version yet. However, I often think that this wears just as well as a waterproof mascara, and you don't get all the hassle of trying to remove it before you go to bed because it just comes off effortlessly. If you do have really oily lids, you may get some bleeding with this, however, so just be warned, but hasn't happened to me, and I do get quite a sweaty brow. So attractive. I need to mention this product because it didn't feature in my ride or dies of December, and it's definitely a ride or die of mine now. I have gone on about this a lot on my channel recently though, so we're just going to scratch the surface of this. This is the Dr. Sam's Flawless Vitamin C NAD Plus Serum. It's great for anybody that has sensitive skin like me. If you haven't been able to tolerate a vitamin C in the past, this is one that you will probably be able to handle. This has given me zero irritation, no blackheads, no breakouts, and usually it happens within a couple of weeks when I first start to use a new vitamin C. And as well as having those brightening and collagen inducing benefits of the vitamin C, you've also got sunflower shoot extract within the formula, which is going to boost NAD plus levels within the skin, which is incredibly beneficial if you want firmer, tighter, smoother, bouncier skin. This also has some really lovely soothing ingredients in. I've not had one bit of irritation, like I've already said, but I think it's worth repeating. It's lovely, great for sensitive skins. And again, another quick mention for the One Skin OS01 eye topical supplement. This is my eye cream of choice. I absolutely love it. Already seeing results after only a couple of months. In fact, I started seeing results after only a couple of weeks. This is such a lovely formula. If you need a really rich, heavy eye cream, you're probably going to need to layer something over the top of this, which is slightly heavy. This is nourishing, but it's not super nourishing. So it's fine for daytime use as well as evening use. And it has a great peptide in here, OS01, which actually has the ability to rewind the clock on your skin health. It'll do for me. I'm loving it, really loving it. I hadn't tried this before Christmas. Otherwise, this would have been in my ride or die products. I'm already wanting to buy another one because you can't actually see how much is left in the container, which is a bit of a bugbear for me, I'm not gonna lie. I am getting a little anxious. This does have 20 mils or 0.67 fluid ounces within the bottle. I've no idea how much I've used, but I use very little every single time. It would be useful to see how much I had left. Next up, has my Charlotte Tilbury The Super Nudes Easy Eye palette been knocked off the top spot? Has somebody else claimed my favorite eyeshadow palette? Well, no, I still absolutely love this one. As you can see, it's incredibly heavily used. However, I'm doing a sideways step. I like this one just as much. Each have benefits to them, pluses and negatives. So the negatives for the Super Nudes palette is it doesn't have as many shades in it as my new favorite-ish. It's on par. It's on a level. This is the Patrick Tar Major Dimensions 3 palette, and it is absolutely superb. Again, sturdy mirror within this palette. You could take this away on holiday, but I think that's the negative. It's a little bit too bulky for fitting in my suitcase. I mean, I wouldn't want to ruin it. I would much prefer taking the Charlotte Tilbury The Super Nudes palette with me because it's small and dinky, but this has more choice. Again, all of these are matte shades, and you do have a couple of cream tones here as well, which you can apply all over the lid to deepen these shades if you want to. These can be eyelid primers as well as shades, but you can also use these as creamy gel eyeliners if you so wish. I've actually not tried these yet. I perhaps should have done before making this video, but it's these shades that I have been obsessed with recently. The reason I love this palette so much is it has those lighter tones as well as the deeper tones. The matte shades are buttery, creamy, very easy to blend, but super, super pigmented. Do not go in one of these shades and swirl your brush. It is not necessary. That is a word of warning. I have this on my eyes today. I have used this shade all over the lid. It is so flattering, so brightening, and so eye-opening. I then have this shade here mixed with the white in my crease. I think the white tone is my most heavily used shadow in all of this palette, which has actually surprised me. I would never have thought that would be the case when I first purchased this. I would have probably said that was going to be the least used, but actually because you can lighten all of the other tones if you mix it with this, it's great, but you can also use this as a highlighter. So I like to highlight underneath my brow with this. I haven't done that today because I didn't want too bright a look. Sometimes it can make your eye makeup look a little bit too heavy if you apply too much underneath the brow. But I've used this today as an inner corner highlight. It's non-sparkly, it's matte, but it's so elegant when you apply just that little bit of brightness on the inner corner. And you can also use it as a nose highlight as well, or anywhere else on the face. If you're wanting a highlight but you're not wanting something really radiant or sparkly with any glitter in it whatsoever, this is universal. So nice. I will still be using both of these, and I think they're fit for different audiences. So if you are a regular to eyeshadow, if you want something really punchy, something very, very pigmented, then I would definitely recommend the Patrick Tar palette for you. However, if you're more of a beginner, you want something more subtle, you definitely get pigment payoff from the Charlotte Tilbury palette, but it is slightly more diffused, so it's a little bit easier to work with, a bit more beginner friendly. I would go for the Charlotte Tilbury. The Charlotte Tilbury is, again, more travel friendly because it's not as bulky, not as big, but the Patrick Tar offers you more shade options. I have to mention blushes in this video because blush is my thing, and I think you'd all be surprised if I didn't. My top spot does still go to Givenchy Prism Libre in the shade 4. This is just such a flattering shade on my skin tone. So easy to use, can be a little bit messy with travel, but still my number one for a matte blush. Gorgeous, really, really still love it. However, I have to mention the Rare Beauty Powder Blush because it's fit for a completely different purpose. So there is room for them both. I mean, there's room for a lot of blushes in my life, let's not lie. I have quite a few, but these two at the moment are in my top spot. The reason I like the Rare Beauty blushes so much is these are a blush and a highlight combined. So if you are like me and you don't like a really punchy highlighter, but if you like to move your cheek and your cheek is highlighted more subtly, you may want to give these ones a go. It's not for everybody. These are very metallic in shimmer, and some people are going to find that quite frightening. I embrace it. I embrace the metallic shimmer. It really is stunning on my cheeks. If you have a lot of texture and large pores on your cheek area, you might want to stay away from that texture and those large pores during application because it's going to emphasize those areas, and if you want to try and disguise them, this is not going to be the blush for you. But I mean, just look. It just had to be mentioned in this video. It's not for every occasion. I don't choose to wear this if I'm going out in the sun because this can sort of reflect a little bit and look a little bit intense, and that's not really my thing. But if I'm going to be indoors, especially for an evening function, this is just divine and just gives a bit more life back to the skin, especially if you have all matte products on to begin with. This can just give a bit of youthful glow. Fake it. Fake it if you need to. This is stunning. Until a couple of weeks ago, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze Gel was going to feature in this video, and I just used that constantly until I found this product, and I actually don't know where I've put my ABH Brow Freeze Gel. I cannot find it. I've not used it for such a long time now. This is the Maybelline Superlock Brow Glue, and this has taken over my world. It is just unreal. Unreal hold, unreal application. This is so quick and easy to use. It's quite a stiff product rather than the liquid gel of the ABH. And because of that, it doesn't take a long time to style your brows with the ABH gel. I used to have to apply it, wait for it to start to go tacky before I then went in and shaped my brows. Otherwise, it would just take a really long time to dry down. This, I don't get that issue. It is quite a stiff stiff gel-like product, so it goes in very, very quickly and you can style your brows immediately, and they hold. They seriously hold all day. You can just style them as you want to, with them being quite fluffy, or you can press your brow hairs back to your skin for a more laminated effect. That's what I tend to choose to do, but sometimes I leave the inner corners of my brows a little bit fluffier for a more natural look. I just love everything about this. I've said that quite a lot in this video, I know, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart for every single product. Otherwise, they wouldn't be featuring in this video. Next up, we have a new favorite. This is from Nera, and it's the dry body oil. And the word dry is the reason why I love this so much. So obviously this isn't dry, it's a liquid. But once this sinks into the skin, and honestly, my skin drinks this in, it does not leave an oily, tacky, slippy residue on the surface of the skin. You don't need to over apply this. This is why I've hardly used any whatsoever. I'm not a nightly body cream or body oil user anyway. A couple of times a week is enough for me. That may not be enough for me in months to come. I may have to use this more frequently, but twice a week is enough for me, and it feels gorgeous. It's not heavy, it's not suffocating. It's quite pricey to shell out for initially, but because I'm not using a lot of it, I can definitely justify the initial expense. This has so many oils in this formula. I'm going to list them over here for you because there are way too many for me to list out, but considering the amount of oils that are in this product, I am absolutely flabbergasted at how this feels on my skin. Zero oiliness. This is the fragrance-free version. They do have a fragrance version. I think I'm going to get that one next time, because although I'm not that bothered about having a fragrance in my body creams, I just think it'd be nice to maybe have a fragrance in the body oil next time. I know my mum would definitely go for the fragrance one. My mum absolutely loves a fragrance body cream, lotion or oil. So this one definitely wouldn't work for her. I don't think she'd feel special enough, but it's definitely working for me. I really, really like it. I want to give this cleanser from Coco and Eve a mention in this video because although, would I say this is a ride or die? Do you know what? I think I probably would. I reach for this all the time, and because I don't have a standalone exfoliant within my skincare routine, this is the product that I use when I feel I'm getting slightly dull skin. I need to exfoliate a little bit, but with my sensitivities to my skin, especially as I use tretinoin every single night, I don't want anything too harsh on my skin. I don't want to overdo it, over exfoliate, and then have problems down the line. And this just makes it so simple for me. So a couple of times a week, I pick this up. I use this as my second cleanse instead of the Glow Recipe cleanser. And it's all I need to have really bright, glowy, fresh skin that is superbly exfoliated with none of the irritation. I did mention that I wasn't a fan of the fragrance. That still stands. I'm still not a massive fan of the fragrance, but the formula wins for me, so I can put up with any fragrance that they decide to throw at this. I will continue to use this and I will buy this once it's gone. And I think that's the clincher for me. If I didn't have this in my drawer anymore, if I'd used all of this product up, would I miss it? Would I want to repurchase? Yes, I definitely would. It is a staple in my skincare routine now, so it's a must. Needed to feature. I know a lot of you are probably waiting for me to come out and say that I have a new favorite foundation, but I just don't feel comfortable sharing that information just yet because quite honestly I haven't made up my mind. It's been really difficult recently because I have done a couple of foundation roundup videos, so I've been trying lots of different foundations and really putting them to the test, and I've got to say I've liked a lot of them, and because I've been super busy trying out new foundations, I've not really had time to revisit my older ones to make a decision and really test out whether I still absolutely adore the Guerlain Terracotta foundation, which was my ride or die during the last videos. So yeah, I just don't know, and I know that's going to disappoint quite a few people, but if I was to make a decision now, it would probably be the wrong one and I'd be pointing you in the wrong direction. So I will get back to you on that very soon, I do promise, but it's just too early to tell at the moment, and I don't want to lie to you all. It's just not me. So that's it for my ride or die updates. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Do let me know what you thought about it in the comments section. Like I said right at the beginning, all of my previous favorites that featured in my ultimate favorites of 2023 series still stand unless I've mentioned new favorites in this video today. So if you haven't seen any of those videos, I'll pop the playlist over here for you, as well as another video that I think you may enjoy if you've enjoyed this one. Please don't forget to check out the links in the description box, remembering that there is the 15% offer code for the Zip Halo using my code GEMMAZZIP. Please don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave, and hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.